Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be going over how to tackle fixed beliefs in your nutrition coaching or counseling session. My name is Dr. Joyce Faraj-Ardura, and I am a nutrition counseling coach. And I am also the founder of the Nutrition Counseling Academy and the host of the Facebook community for nutrition coaching and counseling for dietitians and nutrition professionals. Thank you all for joining me. So I wanted to do this topic because there was a request from someone in the Facebook community on how to tackle someone that says, but I'm a picky eater. So to me, that's a fixed belief or a fixed thought. So I have a few ideas and strategies as to how you can tackle this. And I'm going to go into a couple of them in today's free training. So let's get started. So, tackling fixed beliefs with motivational interviewing and cognitive behavior coaching. This is going to be an introduction. First things first, when you're doing a nutrition counseling session, a nutrition coaching session, and you're with your clients, these are the things that you should be focusing on. So I've made a list of the things that are essential in your coaching sessions or in your counseling sessions. So first things first, you have to uncover your clients' big goals for working with you. What do they hope to get out of working with you in your time together? And then ask them, why is it important for them to achieve those goals? And keep on asking them a couple of times until they're able to or really what their values are. So I've been looking at number 3 and number 4 as part of number 2 here by digging deep and asking open-ended questions as to what really matters to them. How would their life be different if they achieve their goals? Why is it important for them to achieve their goals? What would they be able to do if they achieve their goals that they're not able to do now? And that gives you an idea of what matters to them. And they might not even know this. So this might be the first time they're getting asked these types of questions to uncover their deep why, their reasons for wanting to even start on a journey for behavior change with you. You also have to assess their values to figure out what's important to them. And this is because you're going to be able to come back to this if and when the client's motivation dwindles a little bit. So it's going to be important for you to know this so that you can make reference to their values and what matters to them and why they want to do this. So basically what their motivation is. But it's going to help them because they might not even know what their true motivation might be. Let me tell you, once the reasons for working with you as a nutrition professional go beyond food into something in the emotional realm, you will know that you have dug deep enough because it's not enough to know logical reasons for wanting to change their behavior. You have to dig into what the emotional reasons might be, what they truly desire. Then we have number 5, which is determine your client's stage of change. And I go into how to do this and what the different interventions are for each stage of change in my Elevated Nutrition Counseling Blueprint program. So you're going to have to determine the stage of change so that you know how to how to approach your client based on the stage of change. Number 6, investigate the client's attitudes towards change and past failed attempts, past successes, always with the goal of learning from their experience, from their lived experience, and not dwelling on what didn't work, not doing an analysis of why things failed. No, but it's more so because you want to know what they've tried, at what point do they tend to give up, and what would have made their past attempts feel feasible, like they could actually do it, feel sustainable. And then lastly, help them visualize their desired future self. What would their life look like if they were successful? What would they feel and do if they were successful at reaching that goal? What do they want to achieve? So they have to have this vision of their desired future self so that this vision keeps them motivated to move forward working with you. Okay, so here we have an example of a client statement. And this is what I would consider a fixed belief, and there are many. The thing is that we should be tackling one fixed belief at a time. So the client says, I want to improve my blood pressure and avoid going on meds, but I'm a picky eater and don't know how I'll ever eat the veggies I'm supposed to eat to reach my goal. So the fixed belief is I am a picky eater. So we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper into where that's coming from. And then I'll show you some strategies as to how we can do that. So I'm going to start with what is motivational interviewing. Many of you are familiar with this. Maybe you took a class back in college, or you took a course on this, or maybe you've done some reading on your own. Motivational interviewing is a topic that I love to talk about. A lot of my strategies are based on motivational interviewing. And this is a strategy that came about in the 1980s by Miller and Rolnick. And in short, MI is a collaborative conversation style for strengthening a person's own motivation and commitment to change. And then I added next to this and resolving ambivalence. I'm going to show you what that would look like in the next slide. This communication style was created by Miller and Rolnick, initially used to target individuals who were in substance use recovery, but it's been expanded to individuals who are in many different situations, including those who are looking to improve their lifestyle through nutrition interventions. So there's a great tool for dietitians to have and to be able to master. So how does motivational interviewing work? It helps us, the dietitians and nutrition professionals, guide the client because it is a guiding style of communication. It helps us guide the client to resolve their ambivalence towards change. Ambivalence is a term used when someone is unsure if they want to make a change. They're not entirely sold on it. Maybe they've considered it, but they're being pulled in two directions, in the direction of not changing and in the direction of changing. So, with motivational interviewing, we use these skills, which are the open ended questions, the affirmations, reflections, and summaries, to be able to help the client resolve that ambivalence and make a decision. Hopefully, they're going to get closer and closer towards behavior change. We do that by planting doubt between what they're doing and what they want to achieve. And this would likely be more effective for someone in the pre contemplation stage, or even if they're not even considering making a change, right? Planting that doubt is going to be useful. Number two, connecting their actions with their values. So that's why it's important to know what your client values. You're going to know what they're doing because you're going to do an assessment, and then just put those together and have them think about what they're doing and how that compares to what they want to achieve, but also to what they value in life. And number three is highlighting any desire for change. In the previous statement, the fixed belief was I'm a picky eater. The sustained talk is anything that indicates the client has barriers or obstacles to making a change. In this case, it would be the client says, don't know how I'll ever eat the veggies I'm supposed to eat to reach my goals. And I'm a picky eater will also be sustained talk. If they keep on dwelling on those things, that means that they're not going to be making progress towards change. That's going to keep them stuck. So you can acknowledge that, but then we're going to focus on highlighting the change talk, which is I want to improve my blood sugar and avoid going on meds. So tell me a little bit more about why improving your blood sugar is important, your blood pressure is important to you. What would that mean for you if you were to not have to go on meds? So then you dig a little bit deeper to get more change talk from them. And basically, the questions you're asking lead to them convincing themselves into making a change. And then you can deal with the picky eating part once you get to the how. Um, the other strategy would be using CBT. So, CBT is basically cognitive behavioral therapy. And it breaks down to three different components. You have people's thoughts, and that's what we think affects how we feel and act. That's the C part of CBT. Then we have behavior. So, what we do affects how we think and feel. That's the B. And we have the emotions. What we feel affects how we think and act. And you can see the arrows are going both ways. So they're all intertwined, they affect each other. And there are some things that we can do to kind of break this cycle and have them challenge their thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. So I did want to mention the title that I used at the beginning, which is CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Coaching. So you have the therapy aspect of it, which is a combination between talk and behavior therapy. This can also be used in a coaching environment. So, CBT and coaching can help individuals achieve their potential, reach their goals, enhance problem solving abilities, self worth, and motivation, promote new thoughts and behaviors till the time they become habits, and achieve independence from the coach by teaching them to coach themselves. So, that's really neat because as nutrition professionals, we kind of want our clients to achieve that independence. So CBT has this hands-on approach so they can learn to be more self-aware and be able to challenge their thoughts and emotions and behaviors. So I'm going to go into some of the common thinking errors that happen in in many people and how CBT can be useful for these. So I'm going to go through, I think I have 10 or 12 different thinking errors. Thinking errors or cognitive distortion is a thought that individuals have that likely is not true and doesn't have real facts to support those thoughts. So we have black and white thinking as one, and I think I need to make this bigger so I can actually read the slide. So we have black and white thinking. This is seeing things in extremes. The all or nothing mentality. An example would be if I eat a snack, I will gain weight. And I have all examples related to nutrition on the third column. Shooting. This is thinking that things should go a certain way. An example would be I should have been more disciplined. So that's a thinking distortion. Overgeneralization is another one, believing that one instance applies to every situation. An example would be I had breakfast yesterday for the first time and ended up gaining weight, so I'll probably continue to gain weight if I eat breakfast. Again, I do not practice, I mean, I do practice from a weight inclusive, not from a weight centric approach, but I do have some examples here related to weight because that's what we tend to hear from clients. Especially when it comes to these thinking distortions or thinking errors. Catastrophizing, thinking that a situation is much worse than it actually is. An example would be I had a slice of cheesecake today, so I will probably not fit into my wedding dress. Now, it's like the worst thing that can happen. Another one would be discounting the positive. This means that they're minimizing the evidence that contradicts their negative automatic thoughts. An example would be I only felt good this morning because I slept well, not because I had breakfast. So discounting the fact that breakfast can help them feel better. Another one would be emotional reasoning. This assuming our feelings convey useful information and that is going to lead to facts. And this is going to be farther away from the truth. An example would be my nervousness about eating carbohydrates means I will definitely gain weight or feel sick when I eat them. So they're attributing everything to how they're feeling. And I have more here. Fortune telling is another thinking error. Description of this would be making predictions based on very little information. An example would be breakfast won't make me feel any better, I'll just skip it. Another one will be mind reading, assuming we know what someone else is thinking. How common is this? An example would be they probably think I'm such a mess because I eat processed foods. Or they probably think I'm this or that because I eat this way. Personalization, thinking events that have nothing to do with us are about us. An example would be client saying she seems upset is probably because I didn't bring a homemade meal to the potluck. So thinking of the world revolves around them and everybody's paying attention to what they're doing and the things that their actions. Outsourcing happiness, giving outside factors the final say regarding our emotions. A client might say something like, I can't be happy unless others respect me, or I won't be happy unless someone compliments me on how I look today. Then we have the false sense of helplessness, believing we have less power than we actually do, thinking that there's nothing they can do to change the outcome. For example, the client might say, there's no point in trying to be healthy, I'll never get fit. And then we have labeling, identifying with shortcomings and negative characteristics. So instead of saying, I'm too tired today to work out, they might be saying, I'm lazy. Or in this case, I'm a picky eater because maybe they don't eat onions. So these are all thinking errors, and we can tackle each of these by using either a combination of MI and CBT to be able to, just instill some doubt. So I have a few strategies here. Ways to untwist thinking errors. So we have 10 different strategies here, and I'm only going to highlight 3 that I'm going to go into more detail. The untwisting of thinking errors can be done by identifying the distortion. That's going to be key. Examining the evidence. So I'm going to go into that one. Number 3 is the double standard method. Number 4, the experimental technique. Thinking in shades of gray. The survey method. Number 7, defining terms. Number 8, the semantic method. Number 9, reattribution. Number 10, the cost-benefit analysis. So there's no time to go into all of these. I'm just going to highlight 3 of them, and I'm going to show you what that will look like in a session. So examining the evidence. Let me just have a sip of water. Instead of assuming that the negative thought is true, now examine the actual evidence for it with your clients. For example, if clients self-described as a picky eater, then ask about any instances where they actually ate a variety of foods. And that's a very simple way. I would probably do the next one first, which would be to define terms, because I want to know what my client thinks a picky eater is. Is it just not eating onions or tomatoes? Because it's okay for people to not like some foods, but then to consider themselves a picky eater just because they don't eat a particular food, then that's a very different thing. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page, and I would ask them to define the term. When they label themselves as a picky eater, ask them, what is the definition of a picky eater for you? How do you define a picky eater? And use open-ended questions to gather more information. They might be able to dismantle this on their own. You can ask them, tell me a little bit more about that. Can you elaborate on this? What would a picky eater not eat? To see if you have the same definition or not. And number 10 is the cost benefit analysis. So ask clients about the advantages and disadvantages of a negative label or behavior or thought or feeling. In this case, it would be the behavior or the label of picky eating. So how is that behavior helping or deterring them from getting closer to their goals? So we have to dig into what their goals are, what motivates them, how important it is for them to reach those goals, and then kind of like put that in contrast with them reaching their goals. How is this label going to get in the way of them reaching their goals? And then that way they can end up convincing themselves of being more open to different foods. And here I have one last slide on, let me see, um, on how to compare what they're doing or what they're thinking or what they're labeling themselves as and who they want to become. So there's the idea that if you want to change your behavior, you have to have a visualization of your desired future self. Who do you want to become? So once you know who you want to become, or once the client knows who they want to become, they start thinking, what would the person that I want to become do on a daily basis? How would they think about eating or picky eating? What types of foods would they eat? How would their day look like? What types of habits would they do on a regular? So you need to assess your desired future self. Who do they want to become? This will be the part of shifting their identity into becoming the person they want to become by working with you. What types of labels or descriptions would the person they want to become use to describe their eating? What would their eating look like? So this might allow them to be more open to trying new foods or to trying foods that they know are going to help them get closer to reaching the type of person they want to become. So I would love to hear if you found any of this helpful. Go ahead and comment below. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you appreciate this. And I will put this out there. I have the Elevated Nutrition Counseling Blueprint, which is pretty comprehensive type of program for dietitians and nutrition professionals who want to enhance their nutrition counseling coaching skills. There is a self-paced option That includes 8 modules, and that's over 7 hours of content into the how to do nutrition counseling, how to implement different strategies so that you can take your counseling and coaching skills to the next level, ultimately with the goal of retaining your clients for as long as they need to be working with you so they don't leave prematurely, and making a good connection with them from the beginning. I have a self-paced option, which is all the recorded modules, lifetime access to that, and there's also a workbook for you to implement all of these with different practice tips and action-based prompts. And there's the option to upgrade to live coaching, where we have a small group of nutrition professionals and we practice this. We get personalized feedback from me, and you also get to consult your cases in the small group setting. If there's something that you will find valuable, go ahead and comment as well, and you can join. You can join me anytime. Thank you all for watching.